Hey everybody, and welcome to the Star in Focus podcast. We are here in Coronado for StarCon 24, and we have with us Betsy Ertel, who is the owner of SpeedType. How are you, Betsy?
I'm fine, Deanna. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy that you are here because I have so many questions. I don't know you, but your reputation precedes you, so I really would just want to tell me everything. How did you even get into the industry? What is SpeedType? Let's start there.
Okay, so basically my base industry is from the medical transcription sector.
Okay.
And I've been in that one for 45 years.
Okay.
And I was a medical transcriptionist and did all fields of medicine, transcribing, and I had my own business, transcription service as well for 9 years. And so now I'm in legal. I moved to legal, I guess, probably 15 years ago.
Sure.
So I enjoy coming to conferences. I call myself a convention junkie.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with my vendor products. So I come and show my wares so that I can share with other people a very high output productivity product.
Okay. And is SpeedType, is it software or is it just a company that, has contracts with, I guess, insurance companies or what's?
So SpeedType is a text expansion system.
Okay.
It's a universal Windows product. So that means that it works anywhere in Windows, wherever the cursor's flashing in a Windows field, it will populate a keyword that you give in your dictionary, and it will populate that keyword where that cursor is.
Okay, well that's kind of handy. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming you're not a software engineer, so did you have to hire somebody to create?
So my programmer wrote the system itself.
Okay.
Yeah. And we wrote it so that it would be a universal Windows product. And as long as Microsoft keeps their coding the same, we stay in the business because it's Windows written, Windows driven.
Okay, well that's great. And what made you transition from, whatever 40 years ago you said it was, to just being a transcriptionist to now thinking you wanted your own software? Was there a need in the market, I imagine, or?
Absolutely, because I came from the DOS days where we had WordPerfect was the mass producer for text expansion, WordPerfect 5.1. So I go back quite a long ways. And I was working in a clinic in a doctor's office of 9 doctors as a transcriptionist, medical transcriptionist. I came across this product and the guy called me and said, "Would you like to come to work for me?" And I said, "Okay, well, let me try out your product and let's see what it all entails."
Yeah.
So I learned the system, and I eventually bought my business partner out.
Okay.
And so now I own everything that goes with it.
Yeah.
And spent the last 24 years marketing, advertising, traveling, going to conferences, doing presentations, doing training sessions for people so that they can be very productive from the get-go.
Sure. And do you still transcribe, or do you have a staff, or how does that work?
So that's a good question because a lot of people multitask in our world today, whether it's medical or legal. And yes, I transcribed for quite a while into this transition here, but then the business gets so busy and the demands are high, so I had to kind of let that go and just totally doing SpeedType.
Okay, which is great. I mean, because then you can employ other people, right?
Yes, you can employ other people. There's a lot of customer service a lot of help. Somebody's machine crashes, they need a new license, they need a new install. When they're down, they're not being productive, so I have to be available.
Yeah, definitely.
To get them back up and running.
That makes perfect sense. Mm-hmm. And so how is your ability to, cover your needs? Do you need more transcriptionists, or how are you feeling?
So I'm out for new users for the system because I don't transcribe anymore. So I'm not looking for transcriptionists for me, but for my product I do.
Okay.
And I get the word out and do training sessions online. I do infomercials for people who have the interest for a text expansion system. So just kind of planting seeds wherever I go.
Okay.
And spend some time so that I can show them the product and they go, "Oh, wow, that matches perfect. This is just what we need."
Nice. Mm-hmm. And so have you just been continuously growing in the last few years? I mean, is it just the sky's the limit at this point?
Yes. The world is my marketplace.
Nice.
Because anybody that has a keyboard can utilize the SpeedType system.
Okay.
So if you want to build shortcuts or use your shortcuts, it's like stenographers. They have the CAT systems, they have Stenotype, they have the Steno brief forms.
Yep.
You can put those brief forms into SpeedType, and that allows those brief forms to be used anywhere in the Windows operating system. So it's not restricted
nice.
to
Okay, I see
a
what you're
CAT
saying.
system anymore,
Yeah.
or a CAT dictionary file. I
Yeah.
can take that file, make it a SpeedType file, and then they have all those macros at their fingertips, no matter what system or program or app they're in for Windows.
Yeah.
Their text expander is going to work for them.
That is brilliant. I can't believe that I didn't know about SpeedType before, because as soon as I started, with CAT software, I was just shocked that Word even exists anymore, because it's so labor intensive to put your cursor where it needs to be and all that. Like the software should know how to do this. I have software that knows how to do this, so that makes perfect sense. I can see how those things are aligned.
Yeah. So wherever your cursor's flashing, it's going to SpeedType allows a little yellow hint window that pops up when you type a keyword, and then you hit the space bar and it populates it for you.
Okay.
So that yellow hint window is beneficial, because in Word there's no real expansion viewable application that you can see before you populate it. But now you have that option in SpeedType where you can view it before you hit the space bar and populate it. That kind of alleviates bloopers or backspacing, unnecessary backspacing.
Yeah, which is time consuming.
Very time consuming. It's non-productive. So we want to keep the customer moving forward with all the keywords that they've created.
And how has SpeedType evolved over the years? I mean, are you constantly trying to improve, or is it like perfected?
So what's nice about the base programming codes of SpeedType when it was written, it all complies with the Windows operating system. So we have inside the system itself, we use the Windows command codes inside the brackets with the @ key, and then we give it a Control+B inside the brackets. So if you have that command code inside your text to type long form, then SpeedType will drive that command code and make that text with a bold inside on top of the text, just like Windows does.
Yeah, I kind of feel like you were speaking Spanish.
I'm sorry, but if you see it, okay. If I sat down and showed you that technique, you go, oh, I get it. That's what I use in Word, because I use Control+B. It's just that you don't see that Control+B in Word because that's part of your programming codes. But you can usually hit F12 or whatever the hotkey is to show your reveal codes in Word. But that's the same thing you do. You can replicate any command code in SpeedType that exists in Windows.
Oh, so that is obviously very important to have that a symbiotic relationship.
Right. So if you want a tab key, like the court with a colon, all caps, bold, and a tab key, you can program SpeedType to accommodate that.
Okay, so like a macro or anything.
It's a macro, or it can be a working macro. You can have strings of code. You can have Control+B, Control+I, Control+U, where it bolds, italicizes, and underlines that text. Or you can do commands with the tab and then with the enter key and move down one space to another line. So you can have working strings of code inside SpeedType.
That's very valuable. So what is the what has the change been like since you started, and do you have to make, because you're saying that it works with Windows.
Yep.
So every time Windows updates, do you have to do some kind of updates, or I mean, is it kind of the same as it's always been?
So the way SpeedType works, it's Windows written, Windows driven, as long as Microsoft stays with the Windows operating system, we're good to go.
Okay.
So we're at Windows 11 now.
Yep.
And so we've stayed in the game this far, all the way from Windows 7, and we switched from DOS into Windows. So it's really been nice. It's kind of streamlined where anybody, like I have some customers that came on board in 2000. And so they've built their file for quite a long time, their dictionary file of macros, and they can still use them no matter what Windows operating system they move to. They can take those macros and keep moving them along the line to run with their Windows operating system.
I imagine that would be a vital piece of it, right? You don't want to have to relearn stuff every time there's an update.
And you don't want to lose your macros because you're out of production. You know, you create those macros and you build them over the years, and you just don't want to lose them.
Definitely.
That's what makes you money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It saves you time.
Saving. Yes.
Saves you time and keystrokes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, before meeting you, I had always heard that you had a connection to students. I thought you were an educator before knowing that you were the creator of SpeedType. So there is a connection there. So tell me about that.
Very much so. In the medical sector, where I grew up as a professional, back then in 2010, I've served in leadership multiple times, from board of directors to executive board, and been president of the state of Florida for medical transcription and different leadership roles. So in 2010, I created a system that's called the externship program. And I did this from an education perspective, and I did this to kind of help staff the marketplace.
Okay.
So we would have community colleges that have curriculum teaching medical transcription, right?
Yep.
So those students, I would connect them with a company that needed worker bees, so that needed transcriptionists to do their workflow, to accommodate their workflow. So the teacher would train the students on specific audio files that the company would scrub, all the HPI, the PHI information, and loan those files or give access to those audio files on their server back to the instructor. The instructor would put the students on those files, those audio files, for training. And while that student was in school, they would also use the SpeedType system to build their macros for the repetitive voices or the repetitive phrases of those audio files.
Okay.
So then after they had that SpeedType dictionary file built of all that canned text, that company that owns the audio files would hire those students when they graduated from school, and they would already have that dictionary file built so that they were highly productive right from the get-go when they went to work for that company.
That's great. I mean, that's what people want, is job security, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like a 360 connect the dot kind of thing. So that is kind of, it was my baby back then, but it took a team to build it.
Sure.
We had a lot of people, we had a lot of meetings to make it happen. Zoom didn't exist back then, but we would have a lot of online meetings. And so what we did was bring the instructors together of all the schools, and those instructors kind of fell under the title of Educators Alliance. And we would get online and we would plan cool stuff for the students to do. And we had a place on the National Association's website. It was called the Student Community.
Okay.
And we would put like crossword puzzles and fill in the blanks and matchings and all kinds of things for the students with the medical terminology.
Sure, yeah.
To help them learn that.
Right.
And we would do shortcut corners, like they would build macros and we would have them name the macros or give it a description or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was kind of fun for them. And what was cool about that is that we gave the students 1 year complimentary membership into the National Association, a 1 year free subscription, complimentary, to give the students the exposure of the mother organization that they needed to be a professional inside of for their career. And it worked very well because they became members. They became student members. We worked something out to have student membership. And they really appreciated it. The students appreciated it. The instructors were also members of the National Association. So it was kind of a community that we built.
Definitely.
And the student community grew to 2,000 members for that association within a few years, like maybe 2 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
So it was very successful. It worked.
Yeah.
The externship process worked very, very well. So it met the needs of the industry, it met the needs of the corporation that hired them, and it met the needs of the school.
That is just so nice to hear. When everything works in, concert, it's just really, really nice. Right. Do you find that you have like a concentration of students in certain areas? Is everything online? Like, how does that compute for you?
So a lot of the students were involved already in the community colleges that were teaching the medical transcription curriculum. Just like in the legal industry, we have schools that train court reporters, and we have students, as well, coming up the ranks. Yeah. So my desire is to bring those students together and to make a professional community where the instructors of those schools or the instructors of the firms for their training programs can come together and use their resources, their knowledge base to benefit the students in their learning.
Yeah, and that's really important. Students need to feel supported and feel like they have a place and all of those kinds of things. And it just sounds like that has really come together and worked out wonderfully. I mean, it just took a couple years for 2,000 students to be members. Right.
And so it grows the organization as well.
Exactly. Right? Yes. Right?
And they become professional members, and they get to tap into the network of the mother organization. And so it's just a good tool. I think it's a good resource.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for everybody.
What's your favorite part about your job?
My job?
Or just your professional life.
My professional life. Yeah, because I don't look at it as a job. For me, I look at it as well, I'm a software owner, so I gotta, stay on top of things. Okay. But meeting people, offering a tool that's gonna make their world better is my pride and joy. Saving keystrokes, increasing their workflow, their quality output is so important because that's their reputation. That's the reputation of the company they work for. And just knowing that you have a part in that, and that end result is satisfying.
Definitely. How could it not be, right? I mean, it's just, there's so much to be proud of and feel good. And when you're there to give them the direct support, I mean, I feel like that has just got to make you feel wonderful. And that's a lovely...
It's a joyful thing to do.
Yes, certainly.
It brings joy to my life. And you meet so many beautiful people, and you're in a positive environment. And so it's uplifting. Yeah. It's just nice.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. And I am so glad to have met you now and to be able to spread the good word about Betsy Ertel, because I have heard your name.
Oh, okay. I hope it's been good.
It has been great. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I thought you were an instructor, so that definitely goes to say how much how much time you spend with the schools and with the kids. And I mean, maybe they're not all kids, but you know what I mean.
Students. A lot of them are halfway through life.
For sure.
The students are adults or moms with little kids looking to work from home. So I look at myself as an instructor, as a teacher, as a trainer, as a customer service person, as a software installer, as, just training people to help them get through or navigate through the software, which is very quick and simple. You can learn it in less than 5 minutes, but there are some
that's amazing.
That's amazing. So there's lots of, not lots, but there's bells and whistles in it, and it allows each user to customize it because it's all a Windows platform.
Yes. And that I think is also valuable in and of itself, just allowing people to do what works better for them. We're so much more aware of that now in this day and age than we were 50 years ago. Everybody just has to do the same exact thing. And it's like, well, no wonder so many kids are struggling, and just those little things that we are making, these little changes to allow people to thrive in whatever way works best for them is really nice.
Yeah, we're impacting their world. We're impacting their productivity. When you increase their productivity, you're going to increase their bottom line, their bank account, whatever. Yes. And, it's a good deal.
Definitely. It really is. Well, thank you for taking the time to chat with us and educate us on SpeedType and all the good work you do. And I really appreciate your time. It's been nice chatting with you.
It's been nice chatting with you, Deanna.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for visiting, and we will see you next time.